Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. It is time for another special guest. We've had several special guests through the several weeks, and we've been adding more and more to them. And what a absolute delight to be able to introduce to you a award-winning filmmaker and actually owner of his own production company, Christopher Shawn Shaw, and he's going to share with us the story of a new movie he's releasing. Welcome, Christopher.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Excellent. So I understand you want to talk about church people.
Church people, yes. Let's talk about church people. Wouldn't it be great to have a film named Church People?
There's an idea.
There's an idea.
What do you want to know?
Tell us about the film and tell us about what's going on with it and when it's going to be released and such.
My dog is off camera here in case you see me like reaching over. I'm petting him, trying to calm him down.
Okay.
He hasn't been out yet this morning. He needs to go out. But so anyway, Church People is a laugh out loud comedy. And the star of Church People is Thor Ramsey, and he's surrounded by a stellar cast. You got Stephen Baldwin, Donald Faison, Aaron Cahill, Joey Fatone, China Phillips, William Baldwin, Michael Monks plays the senior pastor. I'm sure I'm blanking on some names because there's so many names in it. It's a fabulous cast, and one of the responses we keep getting is superb cast, excellent acting. So that's really great. But it's basically about America's youth pastor, played by Thor Ramsey, and he finds himself caught up in his megachurch's marketing machine, and he just wants to break loose and go back to preaching the gospel like he used to. However, he is surrounded by zany leadership that's about the show and getting souls in the seats, and how can we top last year's Good Friday and Easter service? Like, what can we do? You know, I've been shot out of a cannon, I've done this and I've done that. What can we do next? And then they come up with a pretty much a blasphemous idea. And Thor's character, Guy Sides, has to figure out how to navigate around and out of it. So hilarity ensues.
Yeah, I've watched the trailer. It looks like an absolutely hilarious film. And unfortunately, it's pretty close to real life. If you've attended some of those churches where they're always trying to top the last thing and getting seeker friendly and trying to put seats in the seats. So
put seats in the seats.
So great. And so you've had some pretty good responses already for it, right?
Yeah, so there's been some private screenings and so forth, and the responses that I've read and or heard, and some endorsements. Carrie Sullivan and Chuck Konzelman, who wrote God's Not Dead, and they wrote and directed Unplanned, loved it, and they gave us a glowing endorsement. It's on my Facebook page. But yeah, I mean, like the response overall has been fabulous. I mean, I'm honored.
You know, I'm always amazed though, when you use humor to bring the message, how wonderful it is when people start laughing and then they realize the spiritual significance of the message, and then there's this look on their face like, oh man, God just spoke to my heart.
I like what Michael Jr. says. Michael Jr. is a hilarious comedian. Yes. He was in a movie called Selfie Dad. Sorry, my dog is making so much noise over here.
Yep.
He was in a movie called Selfie Dad, directed by Brad Silverman. Shout out to Brad Silverman and Paul Long at Kappa Studios. Anyway, I like what Michael Jr. has to say about comedy. Is like comedy, like it helps tear down the walls. And then if you have a poignant message, like, you know, our movie, I believe, has a very poignant message. Oh, my dog is going nuts here. Sorry. It helps break down laughter. One, laughter is medicine, but also laughter breaks down the walls.
Yeah.
And it helps the poignant message get through, because that shell of an exterior is cracked
Yeah.
or obliterated, and people are more open to receive what they need to receive, because the ice has been broken, so to speak.
I know I was just sharing just recently with one of my colleagues, a nurse friend that worked in oncology, and she talked about how just the laughter breaks that whole uh, seriousness of the oncology floor and life and death, and I know when I worked in the psychiatric floors, just bringing laughter to the depressed patients and patients who are suicidal, what difference it can make to kind of break those barriers down, so you can talk about really life issues that that needs to be changed.
Laughter is medicine for the soul. I
Yes.
mean, it's and quite frankly, I'll give you a nugget on your morning moments here. In 2009, I was coming out of a bad ministry situation, and I was single. I hadn't been married yet, and so I moved into my bachelor pad. For years and years, I was living in a house with a bunch of different people, and I came out of that situation. And prior to that, I like if I did some kind of a short or something, or if I did something that was considered faith based, I felt like it had to be meaty. Like, where's the meat? And it has to be, and faith based content is typically known for tears and crying, and I sort of felt like it had to have a mixture of that, and a mixture of like, where's the word, and I believe all that stuff's important, and they can be important elements to a movie. However, that was kind of my mindset, like it had to be that.
Yeah.
And I sensed the Lord was changing my heart around 2009, and I felt like I needed to laugh.
Yeah.
And so I had a subscription to christiancinema.com. I went to the comedy section, and one DVD at a time, I just went alphabetical order. And early in the alphabet is Bananas Comedy, hosted by Thor Ramsey.
Yes.
And so I started watching all these Bananas DVDs and behind the scenes, and the short show, the full show, and then they would go out on the town and do antics around. They filmed it in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm from Ohio actually, so that was cool. But I would sit there and I would watch this show, and I would see the graphics pop up, and Thor would pop up, and he looks all fun and vibrant, and I'm just like, man, what would it be like to be friends with somebody like Thor Ramsey?
Yeah.
And now I know.
Now you know. It
So
isn't it amazing when you have a God kind of connection, and he just puts that connection together? And I've
yeah,
seen through the years people I've met here all circle back around, and God can do more in just a few seconds than we can orchestrate in years.
yeah.
And just by getting out of the way and letting God do it, right?
Amen. So,
Yeah.
we collaborated on a short film called Skip Listening in 2010. And we like to call that short a comedy with heart.
Yeah.
And it was through that change of my heart that I sensed the Lord was doing. And it was through collaborating with Thor on numerous projects, starting with Skip Listening, that, which by the way, we're hoping to make a feature out of that one.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we have a script, and it's being pitched, and so we'll see.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I learned experientially in filmmaking that you can have fun and do comedy and still have a poignant message,
Yeah.
and still get your message across, and still have it impact people.
Yeah.
I saw a report from a private screener that somebody viewed of Church People yesterday, and it pierced them to the soul.
Yeah.
I mean, they were greatly impacted. I mean, the quote that was sent to me was like, wow.
Yeah.
So if you can have humor and you can have the poignancy, man, what a mix.
I want to encourage each and every one of my guests that is listening to this to pass this on. I really think pastors need to see this trailer, Church people need to see the Church People trailer. We need to pass this on. And I know I tell people to pass on messages all the time, but I want you to get the YouTube, look and see, does my pastor need to see this? Does my friends need to see this? Because the message is so well done with humor that we need to get it out there, and so more people could have a time of laughter, but also have the time of the message to be heard too as well.
And let me just say this too, to piggyback on that. If you're somebody who enjoys quality faith-based content and you want to help support it, but like, you know, you're not wealthy and you can't fund movies or something like that, one of the best things you can do is somehow buy into the content that is out there, you know. So whether you know, as long as it's safe, going to the theater, seeing a church screening, there's going to be ticketed church screenings from March 14th to April 14th through Faith Content Network. If you go to faithcontentnetwork.com, tell your pastors to go to faithcontentnetwork.com and they can sign up to see if their facilities would qualify for a screening. But supporting the projects is what I'm getting at. So, yeah. And also sharing. I mean, like if you see the trailer and you like it, share, because that sends a message to the people who do have money and who can fund more projects like this, that this content is wanted, that this content is needed, that this content is desired. So please support in whatever way you can support, if indeed you like the content. I mean, I'm not telling you to support if you don't like it, but if you enjoy the content, support it and make your voice heard about your enjoyment of it. And then that can spiral and get out there, and there you have it.
Absolutely. So many times we hear people say, well, I don't like what's on TV and I don't like the films that are out there. Well, support good stuff then, and shut up and support the good stuff. That's what I tell them. Yeah. So maybe in a little gentler that way. Maybe
what he said, but a little gentler.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, it's so, Shawn, or Christopher, it's so nice to be able to connect with you, and I'm looking forward to the movie and maybe just to be connected with you and other things in the future. And I want to just thank you so much for being my guest, and thank each and every one of you for watching today. And keep watching Morning Moments, and may God richly bless you today. Thank you, Shawn. Or Christopher, thank you.